Hi everyone, this is Jen. Today I've got 10 dye-based fountain pen inks that are blue or blue-black, and they are all water resistant to some degree, and I am going to test them to see to what degree they hold up. So here we go. First thing I'm going to do, I think, is a highlighter test, which is kind of like a little bit like what you would do if you're running a watercolor brush over the dried ink. So it's agitating the particles a bit, if there are particles sitting on the surface. So we'll see if any of these actually hold up to that. Okay. So that was Sheaffer Blue-Black, and it did okay. There's a little bit of smearing. So do Pilot Blue-Black, that actually did better. This is Namiki Blue, and that also did really well. Jacques Herbin, Vert, Gris, also pretty good. So I had set this ink down, I want to say like 4 days ago. So I don't know if it's performing better maybe than if I'd done it like, I don't know, a minute or two after it had dried. But these are all doing really, really well so far. Okay, so it looks like everything passed the highlighter test with flying colors, and actually the only one that I really saw smear at all was the first one, which was the Sheaffer Blue-Black. So now I'm going to put some water droplets on the page, and some of them I will end up kind of wiping instead of dabbing with my paper towel, and we'll see what effect that has. Got a little bit of a breeze there from the side window. You know what? I forgot that you can't see down here. So as you can see, some of the colors are starting to bleed a little bit. And let's see here. I'll start back at the top so that they all have about the same amount of time. with the water sitting on there. So, okay. So there's a lot more bleeding with water than there was with the highlighter. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to smear this. Okay, so I'm going to dab any droplets that are in the main swatch, the grid line and the grid lines. And then I'm folding up the paper towel. I'm using a clean part of it, basically the edge of it, to kind of swipe through the squiggles at the end. So I'm getting a fair bit of pigment there, but it's also not bad. Like if you look at the sheet afterwards, it's really not too bad. It's not taking up too much. It's really hard to focus on what I'm doing, to try and do the same thing for each color pretty similarly, and then also remember to keep the part of the paper you guys can see in frame, so I apologize for that. Okay, so what did we learn from that? Let's take a look at all of these, sort of. So you can see that there's definitely some color in what was previously white in the Sailor Blue-Black, and in the Taccia Ainezu, a little bit in Kobe 77, a little bit in Kobe 68, a little bit in Kobe 81. For the Jacques Herbin Vert Gris, seems like it picked up a fair bit of the pigment and took it, but I mean, there's enough left that you could see what the writing was. And I guess if I were looking at this sheet and had to pick the best performers, I think definitely the two Pilot inks are impressive. So the Pilot Blue-Black and the Namiki Blue, they're really reasonably priced inks. They're pretty colors, actually, and they're very water resistant for a dye-based ink especially. And the advantage to using a dye-based water-resistant ink versus a pigment ink, which might be waterproof or more water-resistant, is it's much less likely to stain things, whether that be your clothing or the converter you're using. And it's a lot easier to clean out. You don't have to use distilled water or soap or, you know, the ultrasonic. And you don't have to worry about it drying up in your pen, because even if it dries up, it'll be an easy cleanup. So I'd say the two pilots are the most solid for water resistance. They neither smeared with the highlighter test, nor much, you know, they didn't move very much with the water droplet test. I mean, more if you had like super heavy coverage, like here with the swatches. And then going through the rest of these, the 3 Kobe colors actually did pretty well as well if you wanted something more interesting but still had some water resistance to it. The 68 got a little bit light in some areas where the water had been. And then, yeah, unless you had super heavy coverage, the Ainezu did well. And the Taccia Jeans number 6 light washed did really well for what I thought was a light color that was surprising for me. And the Sailor Blue-Black, it did really well, but it also leaves behind kind of colored areas of the paper, so it's not as clean looking if you happen to get it wet. But I think any of these would do in a pinch. Any of these are great, like if you just journal, but you want to make sure that if your entries get wet, they don't totally disappear on you. I think any of these would work great. So Sheaffer Blue-Black, Pilot Blue-Black, Namiki Blue, Jacques Herbin Gris, Nagasawa Kobe Fukae Urban Blue 81, Nagasawa Kobe Maiko West Pearl Blue number 68, Nagasawa Kobe Rokko Himalayan Blue number 77, Taccia Hiroshige Ainezu, Taccia the Jeans number 6 light washed, and Sailor Blue-Black. So I hope this video was helpful for you, and if you've been looking for a water resistant blue or blue-black, you have a better idea of what might work well for you moving forward. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.